Are we centered?
I don't know. That's your domain. I could scooch this way.
We could just, yeah.
Oh my god, we're gonna sit closer to each other? That's gross.
Welcome to Swift Floor, where we get gayer by the
Abby and Kat were born in 1997 and became best friends when they were 6. Grew up together and started a band and bonded over music ever since. 20 years later, they are all grown up and spend their free time analyzing lyrics. Now here they are talking all about their Lord and Savior, Dr. Taylor Allison Swift. Taylor, if you're listening, we love you.
Welcome to Swift Lore, where we talk about the lyrics and lore of our Lord and Savior, Dr. Taylor Allison Swift.
Absolutely, that's why we're here.
I'm Kat.
I'm Abby.
And I'm a little teapot, short and stout.
Hey guys, here's something really exciting. No, this is seriously so exciting. The person sitting next to me right now is dating Renee Rapp.
Literally in my dreams. I had a dream last night that was like so realistic. Spear.
Oh, poor Spear.
She's just crying.
We've all been there.
I'm like, she's really upset that I'm not actually dating Renee Rapp.
Aren't we all?
I think she's upset because we went to see the Mean Girls movie without her.
Yes, which is also why I'm bringing it up, because we just saw the Mean Girls movie.
And we'll do non-spoiler because like when this comes out, it'll only have been out for like a week. But I think people are being way too mean about it.
I really enjoyed the movie.
So too mean.
Yeah.
That's not how you say words, but it's fine.
Why you gotta be so mean, internet?
Literally. Like, it was so cute. Because I think that people just expected it to be more like a musical adaptation of the movie. And it was more of a movie adaptation of the musical.
Yeah. And I, for context, Kat saw the musical on Broadway.
I did. I saw it with the original Broadway cast like a couple weeks after it opened.
Say Slay.
I'd like to formally apologize to everybody that I traumatized with the number of times that I fucking said slay last week. I hate myself too. No worries, guys. We're on the same page with it. I was listening to it and I was like, I am literally insufferable.
As I was editing, I was like, Kat, did you just learn the word?
I didn't. I don't know why I was so annoying with it. Like, I genuinely could not tell you.
It was your word of the day.
I don't like.
And I deleted some of them. It was a lot of slay was happening last week. But that's okay.
There was a slay joke that like the mom and Mean Girls made, and I just turned to Abby and I go, me.
I feel like this movie was less risque than the original.
Yes, it was less risque than the original and definitely less risque than the musical. I think that I don't understand all the criticism. Like, people also were saying like the outfits aren't good enough. I mean, the elf placement was a bit much. What shade is that? Oh, it's girl. Be for real.
Also, there's Cheeto product placement.
There was also there was something else, but I forgot because
I don't really care about product placement. Like, I see there's like 6 Dunkin' cups in front of my eyes right now. Like, that's just the world we live in. Not to out Kat as a Dunkaholic.
Like, the thing is, I can't even defend myself because if I say like they're all from this week, then I sound like a slob, and if I say they're all from this week, then I'm a fucking Dunkaholic. I'll leave it up to interpretation of what you think I am.
Oh man,
do you think I'm slay?
Anyway,
so this week we're doing drinky time.
We are doing drinky time.
We're doing songs that talk about drinking. So I'm doing Maroon.
I'm doing Nothing New.
Same vibe. Same exact vibe for both songs.
Vibe.
I'm wearing a maroon turtleneck for the listeners.
The last time we drank was for the Mastermind episode, which to this day is still one of my favorite. That episode was so fun. It's such a nightmare to edit. But so fun.
That was our Midnight's Mayhem. We did get a little cocktail at the theater because we went to this really cute theater in Rochester called Rock Cinema. It's very slay. You can order like... God fucking damn it! Should I get my vocal cords removed? Vote in the comments now.
I'll just get you a collar, and every time you say slay, I'll zap ya. Anyway, we went to this very cute theater. You order cocktails and food like at your seat, and they bring it to you during the movie. Very
was
cool.
great.
Yeah, it was
It was
Cat.
For the viewers at home, I can post. Nothing new?
Yeah, so we're going to start with Nothing New because it's sad. And last week
I have one more thing we have to talk about.
Do it.
The Golden Globes.
I'm going to be real. I've heard that there was a joke that...
So he said the difference between the NFL and the Golden Globes is that the Golden Globes will show Taylor Swift less. And then Taylor just like didn't laugh and she sipped her drink and everybody's like, oh my God, she's overreacting.
Yeah, I know.
Girl, be so fucking for real.
Yeah,
she,
like she
literally
doesn't
just didn't laugh at a not funny joke.
Yeah.
And then he said like Oppenheimer's about like a 700-page like Pulitzer Prize winning book and like Barbie's about a plastic doll with big boobs. And then he was like, and like, it was so weird to be attracted to the lead, Ryan Gosling. And then Ryan Gosling did exactly what Taylor Swift did. He just didn't laugh at the joke. And everyone was like, oh my God, Ryan Gosling is like a king. And they're like, and Taylor Swift is a bitch. Like, just fucking play the man. Just like
literally.
play the man.
No,
My plant's
absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And he tried to be like, I only had 10 days to write my monologue. It's like, bro,
That's so
SNL
much
makes
time.
the entire show in a week, every week.
Taylor Swift has made songs in 2 hours.
Taylor Swift wrote Willow in 10 minutes. Try again later.
GTFO, for real.
The reason that we decided to do the drinking episode also is because I move next week. So next week's episode will be in a new place. It's also why this shelf is not shelving like it usually does. And I was like, I don't want to have to move with my alcohol. So we're drinking it instead.
Yeah. So we've got some
We're
cheap ass
just
screw top rosé.
That's how.
Okay.
Would you call it?
No. Rose Slay. It's like once I figured out where you were going with that.
I was just going to say Slay. You made it better. You made it better.
I had to do it to him. We just hit 2,000 followers on Instagram.
Man,
and
thank you guys.
As of that joke, we've now dropped.
And now we've got 0 again. Actually, there's people outside of my house with pitchforks and little on fire things like the opening of
Like,
Shrek.
We will slay you. Okay, we should get into nothing new. I did a little flourish this time with my voice. So
I love that.
okay, I'm gonna start with a fun fact.
Okay.
I procrastinated writing these notes because I knew I was gonna get upset.
That's so real.
And I wanted to bring up that Kat sent me a TikTok. I think, again, it was a bit where she said, do you want to log our cries of 2024? I said, obviously, yeah.
I'm in it. Every
So
time
I'm
I
doing
cry,
it.
I stop crying to write it in my notes app.
No, literally.
I think it might be helping me repress all my emotions.
Yeah, because there was a good, 8-day stretch where I didn't cry. Gotta say.
That's so good for you.
But I cried last night watching Ugly Betty.
I started saving. I cry a lot watching TikToks, and so every time that a TikTok makes me cry, I'm putting the link in my note. Like, that's how often TikToks make me cry.
That's so funny. I cried due to laughter a lot more, honestly. Especially here.
You're doing that?
Yeah, no, because then it would be a much longer list.
Okay, I was gonna say I thought I was only doing sad cries. It's already long enough.
We have a dissertation at the end of the year. Okay, nothing new.
We're doing it this time.
Nothing new is the 23rd track on Red TV. Woo, 23.
That's my favorite number.
That's Kat's favorite number.
Even though it's the worst age, except for 19, except for 15.
Yes,
as you know.
It's from The Vault, and it features Phoebe Bridgers.
I won't say it. I did that thing where I choked on my own words. I think the universe is gonna take my vocal cords away.
So this song was revealed in the deluxe edition journals accompanying Taylor's 7th studio album, Lover, where this song was originally titled Nothing New. It was inspired by a Joni Mitchell song called A Case of You. And Taylor wrote, I've been thinking a lot about getting older and relevancy and how all my heroes have all ended up alone. And so it's interesting that it accompanied Lover, because obviously the Archer is on Lover. All of my heroes died all alone. So, Taylor, yeah.
Ouch.
I don't have words for that.
It's just ouchie.
In the journal snippet that she posted, there were 3 lyrics, and the second lyrics were, how can a person know everything at 18 and nothing at 22? Would you still want me if I'm nothing new? Which is in the song. But the first line that ended up getting cut was, I'm getting older and less sure of what you like about me anyway.
Oof.
I know.
Ah,
I know.
no.
I know. So
I've decided to forget that. I have chosen repression. I'm so glad that she just wrote those 2 lines that made it in the song.
she has used repression. It's super effective.
My childhood.
Okay. Lord. All right. I love how we actually slap our knees on this podcast.
We're literally knee slapping.
We are just a couple of dads. All right. So this was written on an Appalachian dulcimer in March 2012 when Taylor was
fuck is a
22.
dulcimer?
I don't know. I should have googled it.
Should have googed it. Should have given it a goog. Oh, it's a guitar.
Oh.
It's a weird guitar.
Oh.
Wait, it's not. It's like a look at the
Not
weird
me reading. Not me reading Appalachian dulcimer and thinking she was on like a snowy hilltop. Like, what's
It's like
wrong
a
with
weird
me?
looking, like a flat guitar. Look, Joni Mitchell playing it. So that's why that makes. So it's like a guitar that you put. You guys can see it, right? It's like a guitar that you put in your lap.
Oh, sure, like a zither.
Oh, absolutely. Just like that. That I definitely know what that is.
Of course. Anyway, so it was written on that when she was 22 years old. And this is one of Taylor's most prominent features on a track, I think, because usually when she brings in other artists, it's subtle. Mm-hmm. Not always, because I think on Red she had like some pretty intense features, but like No Body, No Crime, we talked about how I wanted more.
Or like Lana.
I
feel like Red, her features on the original album were pretty prominent. So I mean, that makes sense that like in the vault track she would keep that going.
Yeah, that's true. This is also my favorite vault track that Taylor has ever released, other than like All Too Well 10-minute version, but that to me is different.
True.
But this is my favorite vault track, like no contest.
Wow, really?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what mine is. I think mine might be Castles Crumbling.
Oh, that's a good one too.
Because the depression.
Sure. This is depression, but in a different font.
Yeah, me and you. I just make way too many depression jokes.
I mean,
sorry, it's all I think about.
It's how we cope, and I'm a counselor, and I say it's okay to cope with humor. So,
Slay.
God, but it's not okay to cope with that. So there was an interview where Taylor talked about reaching out to Phoebe and sending this long text message. It was the first time she contacted Phoebe Bridgers. They'd never spoken before. Long text message where she was like, this is what the song's about. Here's why I'm reaching out to you. I so look up to you. Would you want to collaborate with me on this? And Phoebe just responded, I've been waiting for this text my entire life.
That's me.
Just like me for real.
Just like me for real.
I mean, truly, what a dream.
What would happen if Taylor just called you up?
It's my discussion question.
Really?
I'm not joking.
All right, so I'll ponder that.
Yeah, put a pin in it. It's like a 2-part question. But
okay.
Anyway.
Pinned.
Okay. So at Eras Tour, when Phoebe Bridgers opened for Taylor, they performed Nothing New during the Red set, and we saw it.
It was. I like this song. I don't listen to it a lot because it makes me so sad and like existential. Mm-hmm. But like I gained a lot of appreciation for it when we saw it live.
Really?
Yeah, because I feel like I was just in such like a overall positive mood at the Eras Tour that listening to it made me feel like overwhelmed good and not like overwhelmed bad like it had in the past.
Yeah,
like it had a shift for me where now I like listening to the song more than I used to.
I'm just a big old fan. I have always been a big old fan. I think the message is just so
good,
so relatable. Our man Jason Lipschutz, he's back from Billboard. Our guy,
that guy, that dude.
He loved the song. I that's literally all I wrote about him. But I just saw his name again and I was like, our man's Jason Lipschutz.
That's my man.
Oh, goodness. No.
I stopped myself. It doesn't count. It doesn't count. It was a slight on my honor.
So now we can get into the lyrical breakdown.
All right.
Let's do it.
I feel like usually we do that for the bridge, but we're just doing that for the
whole
top.
song. No, that's true. Because
the whole song is a jump
here's
scare.
Here's the thing. I get fierce on this one, you guys, because I had a lot to say. I thought that I was going to add to my Cries of 2024 list. Instead, I just got angry. I got real angry.
Don't get sad, get even.
So true. Okay. They tell you while you're young. So she starts off with the fact that we have the idea. I'll refer to we as women because I think this song revolves a lot around women, girls, and the subliminal messages that we get growing up, the power dynamics, the fact that we're told certain things and then punished for them, which is a running theme. And even though this song heavily relates a lot to the music business and Taylor's feeling like she is going to be replaced, it's also just such a relatable feeling for us normies as well.
Yeah, I feel like everybody goes through, like every women, a lot of women go through like this feeling of not being taken seriously when you're young, and then as you start to age, you realize that people aren't going to like pay attention to you when you get older.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of pressure. And patriarchy and misogyny.
Yeah, and you think that you're so free when you're 18, and I'm sure you'll get into it.
Oh, I sure will. Girls, go out and have your fun. So we've shifted the focus to girls specifically, making them seem like we're already talking about, how do I phrase this? Like girls derogatory, like girls as if they're not belittling yes. The subject of the song is what I'm trying to say. I know how to speak English. We're not talking about women here. We're talking about girls. And it just reminds me of like when you are young, they assume you know nothing from
yes.
Cardigan. But the thing is, we do know things, which leads into then they hunt and slay the ones who actually do it. So a lot of the girls...
I forgot they said slay. I'm sorry, continue your notes on this very serious side that's not funny.
Okay, so...
What are the fucking odds, though?
I know,
literally. The week that, like, I'm banning myself from saying a word, it's in the third line of the song.
Oh my
like,
God.
in this, I don't think this song is maybe in Long Live. No, though, it's fighting dragons, not slaying dragons.
No,
so, like,
I think this is the only use of slay in Taylor's
so
discography.
last week, it was a premonition. Actually, all my slays were Easter eggs.
Easter egg.
It was an Easter egg.
Wow, incredible. You are a mastermind.
It was such an Easter egg, even I didn't know it was an Easter egg. I was possessed by the spirit of nothing new. That's also why I've been so depressed all week.
Oh my gosh, we have to get back on rhythm.
I'm so sorry.
It's
Continue.
Okay. No, that was so worth it. That was worth the tangent. That was so funny. Okay, so they're saying, girls, go out and have your fun. Then they shoot them down. The ones who like actually do what they're told. So the girls that are obedient are still getting screwed. But they're also saying that some girls do know not to do that. Like that they can't go have fun. They have to be reserved. They have to be modest.
And then they're called like prissy and prudes, and like there's I mean like the speech in Barbie of like there's no right way to be a woman. Like you have to want to be thin, but you can't say that you want to be thin. You have to say that you want to be a boss, but you can't be bossy. You can't, like the duality of man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Woman. And also, I think, like, Hunt and Slay also reminds me, like, because there's all the parallels to the Archer.
I'm sorry, I can't hear the word anymore. Parallels to the Archer, yes.
Yeah, like, because I've been the Archer, I've been the prey.
Yeah.
So she's saying, like, if you're paralleling it to this, like, that's that idea of, like,
yeah.
I've been the one shooting down other women, and I've been the one being shot down.
It's so interesting that she talked about this on the Lover album, and because there are so many parallels to the Archer. I also brought up I Knew You Were Trouble with I Was in Your Sights, because we talked about, like, the prey and predator dynamic then as well.
And the rifle.
Yeah, and the rifle safety. Okay. Criticize the way you fly when you're soaring through the sky. So, like, I just wrote... that feeling when you're literally flying and doing the impossible and people are saying you're doing it wrong.
And it also makes me think of Icarus because I've been reading all of the Percy Jackson books in the last like 2 to 3 weeks. And also I always reference Greek myths. But like that idea of when you're soaring and like maybe you are too close to the sun, everybody's like criticizing you. But even if you're flying like you're supposed to be, they're still going to be criticizing it. So it's not even like valid criticism that you can take, because if they criticize everything that you do, it's hard to discern what is valid criticism and what is them just trying to knock you down. So then you can't take in any of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Shoot you down, and then they sigh and say she looks like she's been through it.
There is nothing worse than when somebody's like an absolute bitch to you or like an asshole, and then they're like, why are you upset?
Oh, I hate it. You're right. Like saying that, this is why I started getting really angry writing these notes.
Because it's so like,
so frustrating.
Like when you get in a fight with someone, and like I'm somebody who like when I'm really frustrated I'll cry, and then they're like you're being like manipulative by crying. It's like, well then don't make me fucking cry, and then I won't cry. Problem solved.
Right. Like you're being dramatic, you're being hysterical. That's the hysterical woman has been a thing for ages and ages and ages, just for having a reaction.
Yes, you can only overreact. You can't react.
Right. And if you don't react, then you're a bitch.
Yeah, if you literally no reaction is an overreaction because they want you to react the way that they think you should.
Yep. Hate it.
Like you should laugh at the jokes that make fun of you even if you don't think that they're funny.
Exactly. Also, I just thought of the jokes weren't funny. I took the money from Yo-Yok. I think I mentioned Yo-Yok later too, so
as you should.
Now. I'm going to always bring it up. So I wrote, they are the reason that she is shot down from the sky, and then they pity her. She did what they asked, then they destroyed her once she was like higher than them or a threat to them. And like when they say she looks like she's been through it, it's removing the responsibility of their actions and instead blaming it on some other entity out of their control, as if they have no idea why she fell from the sky, but they did it.
And it's so devastating that she wrote this before like Taylor Swift is over party. Like she knew it was coming. Mm-hmm. Like that's just so.
It's really devastating. Yeah, it's really hard. So when she says, "Lord, what will become of me once I've lost my novelty?" Every line of the song is painful. I'm going to say right now, and I have a lot of notes, but I'm going to try not to like talk about it too much. But this is obviously an issue that we are both very passionate about.
Yeah.
It's just like the laws of feminism. I got Mean Girls on the brain.
And you know how sometimes when you're being too emotional, you make a joke about it?
Which is my life. My life. Yep. I've stopped saying upsetty spaghetti.
I'm very proud of you for
Thank
that,
you.
genuinely, because that's like we love not deflecting.
Yeah, that's something that I do a lot, where I make a joke when I'm upset about something. So I'm working on it. I'm a work in progress.
I almost said it, but I didn't. Also a work in progress.
So I specifically highlighted the word Lord because we've talked a bit in the past about her use of religion and God and Lord in her songs. But one specific example I can think of is, "Oh Lord," I think about jumping off of very tall somethings, which is also about being up high and falling.
Yeah.
And it's like she's praying at these times of her life before the fall. So I'm going to bring up, do you know who Jamila Jamil is? Oh, you do know who Jamila Jamil is because she said our names.
She said our name
a long time ago.
Calm Crossroads. When we won
our
the Little
band.
Mixer Salute.
Wow.
Don't look it up.
Please don't. So Jamila Jamil, who was a radio host, then she was on The Good Place, and now she is part of this organization called I Weigh, which is a lot about body positivity and how women are more than their weight. Like their weight is so much more than that. It's a cause that, I am really passionate about. And she speaks up a lot about this concept of women being idolized and being seen as perfection when they're imperfect, just completely idolized. Everyone loves them. Everyone's obsessed with them. Then all of a sudden they're oversaturated. The media gets tired of them and public perception flips. Mm-hmm. And she talks about this pattern a lot. She posted on January 3rd, I think, if you want to look up this Instagram post on Jamila Jamil's thing, there was a screenshot of a news article saying 2023 was the year Taylor became insufferable. And she went on a whole thing. It's really worth a read, where she talked about that cycle of women in the industry. And she said, the subliminal message is don't be too successful. Don't fly too high. Don't receive too much attention. Don't be too perfect. Don't be too liked. Don't exhibit confidence or have too much fun, or we will destroy you. And she talks about Taylor in 2016 and now. She talks about Anne Hathaway, Jennifer Lawrence, Britney Spears.
Yeah.
Everyone just likes to tackle these women when they get too high. Like, it's so frustrating.
Yeah, because women can be amazing until they're more amazing than men, and then it's a problem because it threatens the power structure.
They can be shiny as long as their shine reflects on you to bring it into all too well. So the chorus. I've had too much to drink tonight. Cheers.
I refilled our glasses. I don't think you did notice.
I was on a whole tangent about the patriarchy. Cass just like pouring the wine. Mood. Also, I love that Taylor had that meme TikTok where it was, I've had too much to drink tonight, and then it just flashed to her just being drunk.
Because I think, did she start that trend or did someone else start the trend and then she did it?
Either way, it's iconic.
Very funny.
Yeah, I just love that.
And
then
like,
we
she's
did
just
it.
like she's so messy. She's like, that was one of our, I think that might have been our first TikTok on our account.
I think it was.
Back when we, pre-Swift lore, when we just.
No, we were just Cabby Swifties back then. That's
we were
what
just
it
Cabby
was called,
Swiftie.
Cabby Swiftie. So, and I know it's sad, but this is what I think about. Like, even though that line isn't necessarily her most poetic or most like lyrically complicated line, there's something really powerful about just admitting, I know this is sad. I know that this might be hard to hear, but this is what's on my mind. This is the truth.
Yeah.
And laying it out there, especially as someone like me who often, I think about sad things all the time. Like I mentioned that a lot, but I never want to bum people out.
Mood.
Yeah. Like I don't want to say these things because other people are going to be like, why are you bringing the room down? Like, why are you talking about that? You're supposed to be positive. You're supposed to be an ever lovely jewel.
Yeah.
And
mood. I mean, I do that so aggressively that you thought my top song was going to be Enchanted.
I know that's still like, props to you for hiding your sadness. Gotta say.
Haha. I win.
Yeah. It's something that.
Yeah. And I think like a lot of women especially are told like not to be too emotional like in public, because like if you're too sad or you're too angry or whatever, like that's not like what women are supposed to do. Like you're supposed to like hide it and internalize stuff.
Yeah.
But also fuck that.
Truly. Yeah. Like express your emotions. I know it's sad, but this is what we think about. I wake up in the middle of the night just reminded me of I wake in the night, I pace like a ghost. Also just all of Midnights is about being awake in the middle of the night.
Yeah. We know gives insomniac all the time.
Just like me for real. It's like I can feel time moving has always been a line that's real, like it just really resonates.
Especially I think when you like wake up in the middle of the night and you can't sleep and you're just sitting there and like everything that you try not to think about during the day is there. And then you could like, I definitely, when I like can't sleep and I'm like trying so hard, immediately it's just like, all right, here's every mistake you've made in the last 26 and 3/4 years.
Nighttime, specifically when I have to sleep, is now my least favorite time of day because of that. Exactly. Like I have nothing to do except think.
I saw a TikTok of like a text post from Tumblr that was like, anything after 9 p.m. is like night thoughts, and night thoughts aren't valid. So it's like as soon as you start having like dark thoughts, you're like, it's after 9 p.m. It's the night thoughts. They're coming for me.
Okay.
I kind of like that.
I like that too. And that very much reminds me of a therapeutic technique called externalization. Just to like, I don't know, pop that in here. But one thing that you can do when you are having thoughts like that is separate it from your own thoughts. So those are after 9 thoughts. They're not valid. As someone like I struggle with OCD. So sometimes I'm just like, that is my OCD talking. It is separate from me. I externalize it from myself, and that can be really helpful. So there's my little therapist tip of the day. So she can feel time moving. Time is going on, and one day she won't anymore. And when when it's in the middle of the night and she's not doing anything, she's completely still, but time is still going. There are things that she can be doing, but she's not doing. And it's just like a really existential thought.
Yeah.
In general. When Swift, you can tell I'm reading a quote. When Taylor announced Red TV, there was an Instagram post, and she said, "I've always said that the world is a different place for the heartbroken. It moves on a different axis at a different speed. Time skips backwards and forwards fleetingly."
Yeah.
I feel like everything she says is just poetic and brilliant.
Yeah.
Anyway, other quotes. Time won't fly. It's like I'm paralyzed by it, from All Too Well. Time went on for everybody else. She won't know it, from Right Where You Left Me. And also just Midnights and the clocks, like the vinyls being a clock. That's a big thing. So all of that. Okay. How can a person know everything at 18 and nothing at 22?
Oh, I'm so glad this song was not out when I was in college. If the song had come out like senior year of college, I would have had even more mental breakdowns than I did have.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so that line, when you're 18, you first become an adult legally. You become an adult, but you're still a kid.
Yeah, but you don't, the thing about being 18 is like, you don't know that you're like, you're like, oh, I'm an adult now. I know everything. I know what's up. And like, you don't. But it's like, you're so sure that you know who you are and what you're like. You
really think you know.
Like, I was so aggressively optimistic. And And then by the time I was 22, I was like, ooh,
yeah,
I'll go into marketing.
They are really defining years where you learn about the world and you grow up and you learn some harsh realities and you learn that you can't achieve all the things that you set out to achieve. It's really rough. And that's why we always say that 19 and 23 suck so bad.
Yeah, because you're realizing the world isn't the place you were so convinced that it was.
Right. Also, alternatively, when she wrote 22, saying we're happy, free, confused, and lonely, and that's a very chipper song, but at the same time, she writes that we're free, but also confused and lonely. So there is a sadness to it.
She's so real for that.
So real. Will you still want me when I'm nothing new? When I've lost my novelty, right? It's the same thing that we've been saying before, and it's just it's so heartbreaking. Good. She talks about in Miss Americana, female artists being discarded by the industry after being a shiny new toy for like 2 years. There's also the whole song, The Lucky One, where if you listen to that one, there's a lot of similar themes.
Yeah. This is like, because obviously Never Grow Up is on Speak Now. This is like the once you've gotten more like jaded about the world, Never Grow Up turns into Nothing New. I broke Abby.
Ow. Dislike, didn't like that.
Unsubscribe to quote the Mean Girls musical. Not the Mean Girls musical movie.
How do I unsubscribe from Cat Facts? Thank you.
You're at my house and you're trapped. There's a snowstorm.
It's true. I'm trapped here. Oh, gosh. Okay.
It's giving Murder on the Orient Express without the murder. Just slaying.
I hate you. Podcast over.
Will you still
love
me? When
if
I won't
kill
stop
you,
fucking saying
like,
slay.
What? Come on. All right. Woo. Okay.
Anyways.
So in the second chorus, that's the one there where Phoebe takes over for a bit, which we love. If you guys go to Genius, I have a lot of quotes that Taylor has spoken up about this quite a bit, and they're long quotes. And if you go to Genius for Nothing New, you can go through and read all of them. It's really profound. This is a long quote, so I'm going to skip over it for now, but it's more about public's perception of women as they age, the sexism in the music industry. There's so much content about that on the internet, and I'm really happy that Taylor speaks up about it a lot.
I've been seeing a lot of like TikToks this week talking about how like people were saying like, oh my God, like Jennifer Lawrence is like aging so gracefully. I'm like, she's in her 30s. She's not aging.
Yeah.
She's not like, she's literally like in her mid 30s. Like she's not aging gracefully. She's just like, yeah, she looks great, but also like she's not elderly.
Right.
It's not like she's like fucking 100 years old. She's like 34.
Women aren't allowed to look their age. They're not allowed to look past 30.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, oh, they're getting old. Like, yeah, that's what time does.
Yeah, it's great getting old. I love getting old.
Mm-hmm. Personally,
what's the alternate? Fucking dying?
I've wanted to be in my 30s since I was 12.
We've all seen 13 going on 30.
That I'm so glad that you know exactly why. But yeah, it's really frustrating in the fact that women feel such pressure to look a certain way, and they get surgeries and things like that to try to fit this mold and fit an impossible standard. And Taylor speaks up about this so much.
And like, I remember I saw this TikTok and I wrote a poem about it, about like this woman who was talking about how she didn't want to get wrinkles on her forehead. So she used to talk really expressively with her whole face. And then she realized that it was giving her wrinkles. So she stopped talking expressively. I'm like, that's miserable. That's so sad. Like that's the saddest thing I've ever heard.
That's really sad.
Because like you would rather like tone down your emotions and your excitement about life than just look like you've lived. Like I am so excited to have wrinkles and like signs of aging, because like it's a sign of survival and like wisdom and life lived. And the whole beauty industry is so oof. We'll link my poem.
Yeah.
It's called Wrinkles in the Year of the Barbie Movie.
Oh, I read it.
Yeah.
It was good.
Thank you.
It's so funny that you also mentioned that, because I'll say it now. I sent you a song that I wrote called Chocolate, which is about...
When did you send it?
Oh, I think I wrote it last year. And it's about what if someone from my hometown ended up becoming a star and doing all the things that I thought about doing, but then chose not to pursue. And so like researching this just reminded me of that. And also that song's pretty good. I'm really proud of it.
I'll be real. I don't remember it, but I'm certain that I loved it.
I've sent Kat a lot of songs.
She does. I love it. I love it every time.
This one is actually one that I want to try to produce because I really enjoy it. And maybe I'll
let me make
show
you a
guys.
music video for this one.
Okay, yeah. Let's do it. So Phoebe starts saying, how long will it be cute, all this crying in my room? And it just reminds me of the beginning of, it could be the beginning of a relationship or just in life, where when you're young, you get an excuse for crying and people have a soft spot for it. Because it's like, you're young, you don't know any better, blah, 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 blah. And then as you get older, it's seen as unacceptable behavior. Or people at first are really supportive. And then when you continue to have emotions, when you aren't super strong all the time, then it starts to be like bothersome for them.
I think of The Summer I Turned Pretty, season 2. I remember seeing so much stuff about like, oh my God, like Belly's being so annoying. It's like Belly just went through an extremely traumatic period in her life. Like all of these like things are happening and she's like reacting and people are like, oh my God, she's being so annoying. Like she's being so dramatic. And I'm just like, no. Like when I watched like Summer I Turned Pretty season 2, I remember watching it and just being like, I loved like in the first episode, there's a scene where she like has this like meltdown at a party and like is yelling at her brother. And when I watched that, I was just like, yes, I love watching her have emotions. And then I went on TikTok and everyone's like, oh my God, Belly is so annoying. And I'm like, she's not being annoying.
Yeah.
She's just being.
Yeah, it's like you can't just react. You're always overreacting.
Exactly. But also this is a Conrad and a Jeremiah hate account.
When I saw the actor who played Conrad being Aaron Samuels, I was like, oh, I like him in this movie. Because I'm so sorry. I can't stand Conrad. He's so broody. But that's a different podcast for another time.
God, it's broody out here. Anyways.
So another comparison I made was to Yo-Yok because she says something different bloomed writing in my room. And so Taylor's success at the time was perceived to be based on heartbreak or like her tears. And so all this crying in my room, how long will it be cute? How long will people tolerate her writing about this heartbreak, even though her songs are about a lot more than heartbreak?
And I mean, people also, like I talked last week with Death by a Thousand Cuts or 2 weeks ago. When did we do that? Anyways, I talked about how like she would constantly get asked in interviews, like when you are in a happy relationship, like what are you going to write about? Because all you write is breakup songs, which also categorically untrue. But
when you can't blame it on my youth and roll your eyes with affection. So at first it's like passed off as, again, like you're young.
When you're young, they assume you know nothing.
Yeah.
I'm only 17. I don't know anything.
Right. And then you get older and it's no longer acceptable to have emotions or like be emotional. That sucks. That's stupid.
Yeah. You're supposed to be a grown up and you're supposed to be straight faced and take everything with a grain of salt. And fuck that.
Yeah, truly.
I miss having tantrums in grocery stores, just like she said when she was talking about 7.
That's my next note.
Brain cell, ping pong, da 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 da. I just mashed my teeth on the mic.
It happens to the best of us. Yeah, I used to scream ferociously anytime I wanted from 7. Love that. Hate that. My cheeks are growing tired from turning red and faking smiles. So I talked last week about Big Pretenders, in Enchanted, forcing laughter, faking smiles. In 'Tis the Damn Season, the only soul who could tell which smiles I'm faking. She talks about this fake politeness a lot because it's not her true self, but it's what's expected of her. Mm-hmm. And she's in actual pain from having to do this all the time. Her cheeks are turning red, and they're growing tired. And so she's blushing from constantly being embarrassed or humiliated and chastised.
And I think, to me, like, the moment of the Golden Globes when she didn't laugh at the joke was such a big moment to me. Because she's been the butt of jokes at award shows and at everything for years of like, oh my God, Taylor Swift's going to write another breakup song. Oh, watch out if you're dating Taylor Swift. Like, shut up. You're not funny. You're not original. And her not reacting is my favorite thing.
Yeah.
Because she's saying that she understands like this idea that like women have to like laugh and smile at everything. And she's like aware of it and actively choosing to not engage in it. And she has the power to do that without getting like, I mean, she's still got a ton of backlash for just not laughing at a not funny joke.
It's ridiculous.
And she's Taylor Swift and she got that much backlash. Imagine if you're like a less famous or less, powerful musician or actress or whatever.
I think it's because it's Taylor Swift. Because if she laughed, then people would have found something to pick on her for if she laughed. Yeah. She has to respond the exact perfect way, and even then she would get attacked. That's the thing. She's always going to be attacked for everything because she's so great.
In the words of Taylor Swift, fuck the patriarchy.
Literally. Also, in the words of Amy Poehler, if a guy tells a joke, you don't have to laugh. Love you, Amy. Come on the pod. Are we only biding time till I lose your attention? I just wrote the entire bridge of Mirrorball. And I'll leave it at that. Mirrorball, I love you. I love your work. And someone else lights up the room. That continued image of the Mirrorball. She will be replaced as something else to shine and reflect other people because she'll be discarded as soon as she starts being bright on her own.
Yeah, and same with Lucky One. There's a line about like the you'll be replaced by like the next shiny new thing that impresses people and that acts the way that people want them to act.
Mm-hmm. And she'll just be replaced by someone younger. People love an ingenue. Oh, then we go back to the chorus, and the only line that's changed is, how did I go from growing up to breaking down? Which, first of all, is just like lyrically brilliant. It's the same concept of the first time with how can a person know everything at 18 and nothing at 22? How did I go from growing up to breaking down? The fact that they are opposites of like growing, breaking, up, down. That is so cool and so painful and so real.
And it also makes me think of like the way that like muscles grow is like they tear and they break and then they become stronger. And like, so you have to break down before you can build up, or like it gets worse. The archer, it gets worse before it gets better. Like it has to be drawn back before it shoots forward.
Yeah, that's true. And also, I just want to say this experience of growing up and breaking down is so normal. So if you're currently in this place, that is what it's like. So for the bridge, I know someday I'm going to meet her. It's a fever dream. First of all, we just talked about fever dreams and cruel summer.
Fever dream high.
Something where like it's a high and it's completely like not amazing, but it's this miraculous thing that is also making you sick at the same time.
Also, like the dreams that you have when you have a fever are so crazy and nonsensical, and like knowing that when you get a fever you're going to have them, it's kind of like she knows that someday she's going to meet her.
Yep. Yeah.
It's a fever dream. It's an inevitability, but it's also insane to think about.
Right. The kind of radiance you only have at 17. And isn't that just so true? So
there's so many songs about being 17.
And there's a reason for that. Because we talked about 15, 19, and 23. But now let's get into the 17 of it all.
Let's get into the 17 of it all. There's so many songs about being 17.
And the reason why, I think, is that there's something I really romanticize being 17.
Being 17, I feel like what is that, like junior year?
Yes.
Yeah.
And we, honestly, Cabby, that was an amazing era.
That was like our first, that's when like Cabby was established.
Yeah.
Was like being 17. Like we were friends before that, but that's when we got like really, really close.
Yeah. It was.
I went to see Demi Lovato for my 17th birthday. Like that's how we kicked off 17.
Yeah. We were writing songs together. It was around the time you came out to me.
Yeah.
It's like when you start getting your license and you're staying out with your friends. Well, some people.
I got my license when I was 20.
Some people are getting ready to graduate high school. It's like this period of time where you are getting more freedom, and it's probably the most freedom you're ever going to have. Because even if you like super screw up and commit a crime, you're going to be treated better than if once you're past 18. Yeah. You already start expiring, basically. It's like
I think about when we were 17 and we went to our elementary school to visit our teachers. Yeah. And this was after I was really obsessed with pure heroin at the time. The Lord album, not the drug. And let's just make that clear. And we went and walked through our elementary school. We met like our 5th grade teacher was there, and like we saw our 1st grade teacher who we met in her class. Like it's like such a like. And then afterwards we went and sat in Abby's car because Abby had her license. I did not. And we listened to Ribs by Lorde.
Yeah.
And I just like that to me is like a very core memory of like sitting in your car listening to it. It's so scary getting old.
Yeah. And that's when I got my license. I had like a random sneaky summer fling. First kiss, if we're going to overshare, when I was 17.
I won't ask who it was because I think I know.
And like just
was it who I think it was?
Yeah. It was in fact who Kat thought it was. We just clarified.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. And it was just like that time to me. And at the same time, as much as I can romanticize it and think about that, I was such a freaking mess. You look back, it's one of those things where you look back on it and you're like, oh my God, being 17. And then like if I read my journals, I'm sure it would just be like, I hate being 17. It's really
I'm
hard.
so sick of 17. Where's my fucking teenage dream?
Yeah. Yeah, it's
brutal
really
out
hard.
here.
I would never go back. Never.
But at the time, it was also, I think we should say that you graduated our high school graduation was on your 18th birthday.
Oh, yeah, that's
so
true.
like year 17, like really was leading up to, like you really were just like, let's do all the rites of passages in one day.
No, it's true. That felt very much like the end of a movie moment for me.
No, it's literally iconic that was the same day.
And also,
Thank you so much, Sharon.
Gay marriage federally got passed on my birthday as
Easter
well.
egg.
Oh my God, Obama knew.
I can't believe Obama tried to out you. Actually, it was Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Oh my God. Wow.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg was like, I
I
see
see you for what you really are. Say it out loud.
Gay.
Gay. Anyway.
Only one person can tell you who you are. Me? No, me, Sue Sylvester.
Me, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Oh, goodness.
Let me go put on my RBG socks.
So anyway, 17, we can really romanticize it. There's a lot of grades to it, but it's also a hot mess of a year.
Yeah.
The kind of radiance you only have at that age. She'll know the way, and then she'll say she got the map from me. I'll say I'm happy for her, then I'll cry myself to sleep.
That line is so... I want to hear what you have to say about it because I have so many thoughts.
So first of all, that scene from Catching Fire where Katniss sees a little girl that's just like, one day I'm going to volunteer to be in the games just like you.
Oh.
Like, it reminds me of that. That's a very extreme example. But just the way that, like, she got the map from me, the guilt that the narrator feels, that she feels because she taught the younger generation how to be and how to play the game, even knowing that it's a doomed mission. And she's...
And then also that, like, duality of, like, you're going through all this pain because you idolized me and I didn't talk about all these painful things. And also... you're going to replace me. I taught you how to do this and you're going to replace me.
Yep. Yeah, it's so complicated because it's like sadness that you're being replaced, you're getting too old, you're no longer a novelty. Guilt that you taught the younger generation how to do that best because you used to be the best. You used to be the thing and now you're not going to be the thing. Like, it's so complicated.
Yeah, it's... I love Taylor Swift.
I love her too. I love the song. The last note is just in that final chorus. They switch. The line that they switch every chorus now, it's, I wonder if they'll miss me once they drive me out. And I'm so sorry.
I'm afraid.
Just between us did the love affair maim you too. She's hoping that once this system, this machine keeps on going, she gets kicked out, new stuff gets brought in, that one day they'll realize that, like, they miss her, that they're the problem, but they're never gonna know.
And it, like,
or they
it
might
reminds
not.
me in Lucky One where she, like, the final verse where she talks about, like, a few years later, like, you disappeared. Everyone tells the story of how you disappeared. You took your money and your dignity and got the hell out. Mm-hmm. And, like, at the end of that song, she just is like, I understand now why you quit the game before you lost your dignity, before you became, like, nothing new.
Mm-hmm. It's so sad. It's really frustrating. It's so poignant. It's so important. I love this song.
This song is incredible.
For my discussion question,
I already forgot what it was before. The pin was in it and then it flew away.
Okay. In a perfect world, in this fantastical imaginary world where Taylor reaches out to you and is like, I wrote this song, please collab with me. What would the song be about?
That's a good question.
I was pretty proud of this question, not gonna lie.
I think the thing is, I would want it to be like a relationship song, I think. And then I would get to sing it in a gay way and then she could sing it in a straight way.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because when I sing Karma, I make it Karma is my girlfriend. Mm-hmm. As it be.
For me, Karma is my boyfriend, in parentheses, femme.
Karma is my partner. Karma is a god. You know, it's not a rhyme, so you can change it to whatever you want.
It's exactly.
Yeah, I think, that's that, or just like something like this, I think would be my bread and butter. Because I think a lot of songs that I write are about depression more so than relationships.
Same. A lot of my songs are about depression. I write
That's
a lot
why
about
I think
that.
if she wrote a relationship song and I just got, because like Phoebe Bridgers obviously didn't write the song at all. She just
That's true.
hopped in.
I would like to collab with Taylor Swift on a song about Taylor. Are you listening? And, I would love to collab on a song about mental health, recovery, healing, that sort of thing. I feel like that's my brand.
Like a clean vibe.
Yeah, absolutely. Ugh, clean.
A banger.
And
We
that's
missed that one by one day.
Sadness. So
we
sad.
also missed my song by one day. Maroon.
What a great segue.
That was not planned at all.
You are the moment. I'm so excited that I get to put my foot down and just listen to you now. That's my favorite thing, listening to Cap.
And that's great because I never shut the fuck up. In the words of Renee Rapp, my girlfriend, literally in my dreams, I talk too much. This is track 2 on Midnight's, her 10th studio album. This was the 5th episode of Midnight's Mayhem is when this track title was released, which was September 30th, 2022. Written and produced by Swift and Off. And it peaked at number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100 in the US, number 4 on the Global 200. So we missed this as a surprise song by one day. I honestly wasn't too upset about missing this because we got Holy Ground and False God. Said it right.
I will say false ground for the rest of my life, I feel.
As you should. But however, this was paired with Getaway Car, which was devastating, and I had to
Yes.
pretend like it wasn't because I was trying to be upbeat, and I was like, it's totally fine that Jack Antonoff came out and played Getaway Car last night off my favorite album by Taylor Swift ever, Reputation. It's fine.
No, that is true because I had to break the news. It was rough.
Moving on. It was also performed in LA with I Can See You, which interesting pairing.
That is interesting.
And that was on August 3rd, 2023. I can't remember which night of LA that was. And then it was also performed in Mexico City on August 27th, paired with Afterglow. Because the song's on Midnights, which, as we know, her rule with songs for Midnights is she can play them as many times as she wants because this is her tour. She makes the rules. Personal connection. Honestly, I don't really relate to the song too personally. Like, this doesn't really make me think of a breakup. Probably because I haven't gone through a breakup like this since Midnights came out. Give it a couple years. Maybe we'll be there.
My personal connection is that my roommate does not like this song simply because it's called Maroon, and then she uses a bunch of shades of red that aren't maroon.
I get into that.
Okay, great.
Overall, the lyrical analysis, we're diving in. This is just a retrospective on a failed relationship. I also wrote that this song has slinking vibes.
Slinking?
Like slinking around.
I suppose.
Like, honestly, I see why it's paired with I Can See You because Eli Rallo, who's a TikToker.
Slinkcore.
It's Slinkcore.
I'm just imagining the Slinky dog from Toy Story.
The Slinky dog from Toy Story would fucking drop it to this. He would move his whole little slinky body. Are you picturing it? It's like a jump rope, but it's his body.
If you're not picturing it, just wait for the meme.
And there's this TikToker and really great writer named Eli Rallo. She just came out with a memoir that I feel like I might have talked about last week.
Yeah, I think you did.
Yeah, but she made a playlist recently called Slinking Around, and that slinking was on the mind when I was making these notes. And now we're diving into the lyrics. When the morning came, we were cleaning incense, so it's like both of them are taking responsibility for this mess together. Like, so the first, pronoun used in the song isn't I or me or you, it's we. Mm-hmm. So it's immediately like this united front, like the morning comes, we're together. Parallel to New Year's Day. The morning comes, we were cleaning together. But yeah, like in New Year's Day, I'll be cleaning up bottles with you on New Year's Day. Mm-hmm. This is different from that because in that song, it's like the night before they're all together with their friends and they're like in this, public relationship, whatever. But in this, it's like the morning came, we were cleaning incense off your vinyl shelf because like we were in this bubble. We lost track of time. And also like that we were cleaning incense, like incense obviously emits smoke. Like that's the whole thing. And it has this like cool smoky image. And it feels very like Midnight's aesthetic of that like 70s kind of like smudged lavender haze. Mm-hmm. Not grungy, but like this like smoky eye makeup, smoky rooms, like all that kind of vibes. And also like in the Lavender Haze music video where there's like the literal like lavender haze smoke. And also she says hazy later. Anyways, Vinyl, as we know, Taylor Swift single-handedly revived, not single-handedly, but like last year was the year that vinyl sold like the most in the US or like in the world since the 90s. Largely because Taylor Swift encourages you to buy multiple variations of everything that she puts out. I wish I was rich. Because we lost track of time again. This line, I kind of like don't know what this means. I'm going to be honest. So my kind of like ideas is like, is it they lost track of time because they were supposed to like clean it up earlier and they just like were talking and like being together and like so lost in their bubble that they're like, oh shit, like your roommate's coming home, we were supposed to clean up before they got here? Or is it like they were supposed to put the incense out before it got onto the vinyl player because they have like a shitty incense holder? Because like I have some shitty incense holders where like it'll sometimes get incense dust, whatever, crumbs everywhere.
I think, well, I'll always say that all interpretations are valid, but my impression of this is, cracks knuckles. Okay. So
I want to hear it because I literally, it's a question fully.
There's something really romantic about losing track of time with another person. And to relate it to Nothing New, I can feel time moving. She's alone in these sleepless nights and she can feel time moving as she feels the pressure of all the things that she needs to be. But instead she's with someone where she loses track of time. She's not thinking about it anymore.
Love that. There's definitely a lot of parallels to Songs on Red in this song that I'll get into as we go. So I love that. Laughing with my feet in your lap, like you were my closest friend. Parallel to It's Nice to Have a Friend. It's on the brain because last week. But also the use of like you were my closest friend is implying that this person wasn't actually her closest friend.
Oh.
They were imitating it. It's that false like honeymoon phase closeness where you're divulging all of these like personal things so you feel this like falsified sense of closeness to each other, even though in reality like you don't know each other that well. So it's like you were my closest friend because they aren't her closest friend. She has actual close friends and this is kind of mimicking that.
It's my boy was a montage situation.
Yes. And then also to parallel You're in Love with pauses, then says, you're my best friend. In that, it's a definitive statement. It's like, you are my best friend. You are in love. In this, it's like you're my closest friend. But they're not actually. How'd we end up on the floor anyway, you say? Your roommate's cheap-ass screw-top rosé.
That's how.
Just like us for real. And also, we know that Taylor actually drinks cheap-ass screw-top rosé from that You're Losing Me post with the Gaslight rosé, which apparently costs $20 a bottle.
I know, and I wanted to buy some for tonight, and then I didn't.
But it's okay because I had cheap-ass screw-top rosé.
Love that for us.
I see you every day now. This first verse is very, like I've already kind of mentioned, it's very honeymoon phase, very beginning of the relationship. Like you're so just obsessed with each other and you're just spending every day together and you're like saturating your life with this other person because that false sense of closeness, like you want to create these routines and these like memories with the other person so that when you're not together, you can feel the absence immediately. It's just that very like intense beginning of a relationship where you're spending all your time together, you're always together, blah blah blah. And I chose you, rosé flowing with your chosen family in the one.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
I went on TaylorSwiftIndex.tumblr.com and looked up choose choice that word, and when it said like chosen family, I was like, well, also rosé is specifically mentioned in this song, so I think there's a very strong parallel between this chosen family and she's choosing him with their cheap ass screw top rosé that they borrowed allegedly. The one I was dancing with in New York, Holy Ground. I don't want to dance if I'm not dancing with you. First time meeting on New York time.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that exact lyric. Look at us.
So they're dancing together in New York. They're choosing each other. They're in this like fun like early relationship moment. No shoes. Guess what I'm going to say?
I'm not going to guess. Tell me.
Debut Easter egg.
Wasn't expecting that. Love it.
she's barefoot a lot on debut. That's all I got. Looked up at the sky and it was. I love the way that she builds up to this maroon, but like in this part, it's like looked up at the sky and it was the burgundy. Like she doesn't say maroon in this chorus until the end of the chorus. She like builds up to it because the thing with maroon is that it's like it's a darker red. It's deeper. It's like, it's different from scarlet or burgundy or the other colors. It's like a deeper, more intense color. It's the color that I'm currently wearing. But she's like hinting and building up to this maroon, but she's not there yet. The burgundy. So in the chorus of Red, off of Red, she says like all these like loving you with blue like I've known, great, like all these different colors that aren't red, and then it's loving him was red is, the ultimate what she comes to. But in this song, it's like she's building up to maroon. So it's like burgundy, blood, scarlet, rust, and then maroon. Like
does she ever say red?
She doesn't. Huh. But she says all these shades of red, which I think is a really interesting way to parallel like the relationship that Red kind of centers around. I think is, in my belief, is what this song is a reflection back on it, and like looking at these memories from that relationship, and like they've aged with time. They've become this like darker, deeper thing. So they were red and now they're maroon. But it's like she goes through all these different shades of red to come to maroon. The blood rushed to my cheeks. Gold rush parallel. I don't like the rose flush. Is that the lyric? Forgot to write it down. My face in a red flush or something flush.
Yes.
Anyways, gold rush, And just like a great way to describe blushing. Like I love that. The mark they saw on my collarbone, I just wrote spicy. It's spicy.
Yeah, there's no other way to say that.
It's a hickey.
It's a spice.
The rust that grew between telephones. This hints at this fact that this was like a long distance relationship, or a relationship where like phone communication was really important, but then it broke down and like was unused, so it rusted. A couple parallels on Red in All Too Well. You call me up again just to break me like a promise. Ouch. And then also in The Moment I Knew, you called me later and said, I'm sorry I didn't make it. And I said, I'm sorry too. So like that's that moment of breakdown of communication where like you couldn't even send a little texty text beforehand saying I'm not going to make it to your birthday party. Fuck you.
My birthday party on my birthday.
Smack. Smack the present, not the person. The lips I used to call home. That's like the first like really definitive line that's like this relationship did not last. Because the first verse is about the like honeymoon phase, and it's very idyllic, and there's kind of like a darkness to the tone of the song and the way that she sings it, but like there's no outright like this did not last until this line, the lips I used to call home. So Scarlet, it was maroon. And I just wrote like this doesn't totally make sense because Scarlet and Maroon obviously are totally different shades, and Scarlet is so vibrant and then Maroon is a much muted and darker color, but it's like it was so scarlet that it couldn't last, so it faded because there's no like the things that burn the brightest burn for the shortest amount of time. So it's like this intense scarlet color can't last. It has to fade to a maroon.
Damn, I'm going to have to tell my roommate that.
When the silence came. So the first verse is about that like honeymoon phase of a relationship when everything is like perfect and idyllic and like you're just trauma dumping to each other, and that forms this false sense of closeness. Not necessarily false, but like this sense of closeness and like intense connection. And then once that kind of honeymoon phase ends and you just kind of sit together and you're like, so like, do you want to get lunch? Like, I don't know. Like the morning comes, you're no longer in that like nighttime safe space of like telling each other secrets and stuff. And you're just like, was last night just like magical? And like, now we're in this like weird silence. Like it's like The Hangover. It's the afterglow. But like in this song, they're not meeting in the afterglow, which I think maybe that's why she paired this with Afterglow. Is that this relationship didn't make it into the post honeymoon phase. Like the honeymoon phase was all it had.
Right.
We're shaking, blind, and hazy. Oh no, we were shaking, blind, and hazy. So like the record ended, the silence of the morning came, and instead of being stronger than they were before, instead of like in Call It What You Want, the windows being boarded up after the storm, they're stumbling around blindly and hazy in the morning light because they don't recognize each other. They don't know who the other person is in this truth of daylight. They need the haze and the smoke screen to understand each other.
Mm-hmm.
T. How the hell did we lose sight of us again? Sobbing with your head in your hands. Ain't that the way shit always ends? I have kind of a question. This is my discussion question, but like sobbing with your head in your hands. Do you think that the your is her partner, or is it like her distancing herself from the situation, talking about herself? Like, isn't that how it always ends? Like, you end up sobbing and alone, like self, like this is how it always ends, is that like you're sobbing with your head in your hands.
Wow. I don't know. I haven't really thought about the lyrics of this one ever, maybe.
Same. That's like, because that's when I was going through it, I'm like, ain't that the way shit always ends? Like sobbing with your head in your hands. Because I was like, is it a manipulative thing where like he's trying to say like, oh, don't leave me. He's like crying. Or is it like her saying like, this is how every relationship of mine ends. Like I'm just crying. Like that's the way shit always ends. Like you're crying and you're alone. Like.
Wow. I think I like both interpretations. I think both work. What was that first line of it?
How the hell did we lose sight of us again?
So this is
so that kind of relates more to the blind and hazy, like losing sight of who they are through the haze and the blindness of
But
morning.
does that also imply that they've been on again, off again sort of situation?
Ooh.
Like,
yeah.
how did
So
we
maybe
let this
like this
happen
is like
again?
this honeymoon phase. It's not the first honeymoon phase.
Like giving it another try.
Yeah. And you think like, oh my gosh, everything's perfect. And then the morning comes and then you're like, all the problems from the last time we dated are still there because we didn't actually work on shit. We're just being codependent. And we lost sight of us again. You were standing hollow-eyed in the hallway. In Coney Island, were you standing in the hallway with a big cake, happy birthday? And there have been some theories online, which I really love, about how the Bridge of Coney Island is the order of the re-records. So it's...
Right.
When you were waiting at our old spot in the tree line by the gold clock, fearless, did I leave you hanging every single day? So that's, fearless. Were you standing in the hallway with a big cake, happy birthday? Red. Did I paint your bluest skies the darkest gray? Speak now. Dear John reference. And when I got into the accident, 1989, vehicular manslaughter. The sight that flashed before me was your face. That's Reputation. And then when I got up to the podium, I think that I forgot to say your name. Debut, Taylor Swift.
That's a really cool theory.
I love that theory. So, yeah. So people think that line, were you sitting in the hallway with the big cake, happy birthday, because that kind of whole thing is like a dream sequence. Like that is what doesn't actually happen. And if this relationship had worked out, he probably would have showed up to her birthday party on her birthday.
I also I love hollow-eyed in the hallway. It just rolls off the tongue in such a satisfying way.
It's also, you're losing me, core.
It is. Having hollow eye, like nothing behind them, they're empty. What used to be like, again, this vibrant scarlet has just...
This vibrant, like, life, like having life behind your eyes is,
right.
How people
Instead,
are.
Now you're hollow-eyed in the hallway.
Carnations you had thought were roses. Carnations are a funeral flower in a lot of cultures.
Oh, interesting.
So not only he was trying to fix things, he thought he was bringing her roses, and he was actually bringing her flowers that are a sign of condolences and death. So the relationship was doomed. Even as they're trying to fix it, it was never going to work.
I read it, oddly enough, pretty much the same result with a different thought. I always thought carnations were like, I'm pretty sure they're a very cheap flower.
Yeah, they are.
And aren't they what you use for like corsages and boutonnieres for prom?
Sometimes, yeah. They're also like the $5 bouquets at like Trader Joe's.
Right.
I
like
have a lot of carnations.
They're like really cheap and easy to find. They're not really that special. And they're saying that they are this cheap, fleeting thing.
And you thought they were roses. Like,
yeah.
Also another red shade. Roses are often red.
Yeah.
Roses are red. Violets are blue, etc. You know the rest. Carnations you had thought were roses, that's us. So like also that idea of like no matter how hard we try to fix things, like it's it's the end.
We're
Like,
always
there's
going to
no-
be carnations.
Exactly. We're never going to be like the real roses symbol of love. We're always going to be a symbol of the end. I feel you no matter what. Just between us. Did the love affair maim you too?
How did we both?
I was
get
like, when
there?
you mentioned it, I was just like, hee hee hee.
Come on. This is starting to get weird.
Weird. Well, I mean,
Weird.
there's an echo in here.
Do you know how many times I have to cut out one of us just saying the exact same thing the other one of us just said?
Leave it in.
Because it's so often we just soundboard off each other.
I love that.
And I'm like, I didn't add anything. I just repeated what you said. That's all I did. Then we laughed again.
A little tee-hee for the road. The rubies that I gave up, he wouldn't let her be bejeweled.
There you go. And rubies, they're red.
They're red.
Or
Also,
maroon.
apparently the only other time that she's used rubies, like she's never mentioned it in their song, but apparently she had a Tay-moji for, I forgot to write down what song it was for. I think this was like during like Lover era. She had a Tay-moji that included, oh my God, it spins. Sorry. Abby's pop socket spins.
I have
and
a really
I have
fun-
ADHD and I've drank a bottle of wine.
I have a really it's not a bottle, guys. It's fine. We're drinking responsibly. I have a really fun pop socket. It looks like a vinyl record and it spins, and that's really cool.
ADHD, in the words of my girlfriend Renee Rapp. Anyways, but also in All Too Well, a diamond whose shine reflects on you. It's that I like the rubies that I gave up. Like she gave up these important, like expensive, treasured, worthwhile things for him.
The life I gave away from Midnight Rain.
Exactly. And then in the second chorus, the first line changes from "and I chose you" to "and I lost you." So she chose him, but
It
just
didn't
because
matter.
she chose him doesn't mean that he chose her. Yeah, just sad.
Or she chose him, but it didn't matter in the end because they were always carnations.
Yes, it doesn't matter what she chose because fate will fate it up.
Fate will be fading.
Fate be fading. That's right. That's right. I did just repeat exactly what Abby said, and then we deheat about it. Exactly what we just said.
Now
we
that
weren't
I've
gonna do.
said that, you're going to go back and hear in all the other episodes, I swear. It's like when our friend Brienne was just like, oh, I bet.
Brienne texted me, and I had just listened to our Cruel Summer Death by a Thousand Cuts episode, and she goes, I was FaceTiming with her, and she was like, it's funny, I was listening to this like with my boyfriend David. We stan David.
Oh, we love David.
Our friend David. We stan. But she was like, yeah, I told him that you guys do this thing where one of you will say a meaning to a line, and the other one goes, I've never thought about it that way. And like, I fucking died laughing because we say like that exact exchange like 3 to 4 times at least in the Cruel Summer episode.
And now I just keep hearing it.
And now, yeah, I mean, we're not going to
Unintentional
stop,
bits.
but
My God.
we know it's there.
Just like slam my nose into the mic.
Well, we haven't done that before. That's a fun change of pace.
It's new.
It's kind of like how I slammed my teeth into the mic for the first time earlier.
Well, you still want us when we're nothing new.
Well, you still want us when we keep slamming various body parts into the fucking microphone. And now the bridge. And I wake with your memory over me. So I wake. The song starts with them like losing track of time and like suddenly it's morning. But now she's alone. I wake. It's not the morning came we. It's I wake.
I love when you talk about pronouns.
I packed my pronoun candle already. Otherwise I would be like, pronouns. Everybody has them. Still true without the candle involved. So then, like the beginning I talked about the parallel to New Year's Day where I'll be cleaning up bottles with you on New Year's Day. This is I wake alone.
Mm-hmm. It's again like the sleepless nights, the waking up in the middle of the night, the haunted by the ghosts of the graveyard shift, anti-hero.
Yeah.
Like the way that I said that
No,
lyric,
I understood what you meant.
completely all the words were jumbled.
That's fine. It's a little word puzzle for the listeners.
Easter
Figure it
egg,
out.
Easter egg.
We're testing your critical thinking skills. This is like those games you get that like make your brain work hard.
Yes, that's what listening to our podcast is like.
You're welcome.
Got a big brain.
This is a big brain moment. And then I wake with your memory over me. clean parallel. You're all over me like a wine-stained dress I can't wear anymore. I'm sure this also parallels You All Over Me, the Fearless Vault track. However, I don't like that song, so I don't really listen to it.
Wait, but she says earlier the burgundy on my t-shirt when you splashed your wine into me or onto me or whatever.
Yeah.
Right?
But not,
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Wait. Easter egg.
we just came up with something.
Let you cook. Yeah. And then, so the bridge just like is those two lines repeated. So the first repetition of it, and I wake with your memory over me. That's a real fucking legacy. And then it was Maroon in the background. And then the second time's, and I wake with your memory over me. That's a real fucking legacy to leave. And there's two ways to take this line. It's like, that's a real fucking legacy to leave of waking up and like he's in her head. But then also, if you put a pause, there's a pause between that's a real fucking legacy to leave. So his legacy is that he leaves.
Yeah.
Especially with what you were saying about this being an on again, off again relationship. Like that's his legacy is that he always leaves.
Oh, I just got full body chills.
Full body chills.
Wow.
We're straight chilling. We're gay chilling.
We're gay chilling over here. Oh, okay. You probably only have a couple notes left, but I have my reactions.
Actually, I have no notes left, so you go.
No notes? Okay. So I was telling Kat how I did that. I mentioned in the Mastermind episode that I did a live reaction to Midnight songs, and some of them are funny. So for some of them aren't. But for Maroon, I wrote, how is this both reputation and folklore? Which I didn't think of. I haven't thought of it like that since then, but.
How the fuck did you not think of Red?
That's a great question.
You're like, it's so rep and folklore. It's literally called fucking Maroon. She has a whole album named after that color.
It's fine. It's fine.
I mean, there's.
I'm not saying it's an accurate take. I'm just saying that's what I wrote initially.
That's fair.
I also.
How is it folklore?
I don't know.
Fair enough.
I think I just really liked the lyrics because when I first listened to it for the first time,
she did say this was a like more poetic song. I think that I saw on Genius that she described this as like a fountain pen song because the lyrics are pretty poetic.
Well, I had an issue when it first came out. I was one of the first people to listen to it because I was waiting and refreshing, and they didn't have the lyrics up yet on Spotify. And so me and my auditory processing disorder, I couldn't really understand a lot of the lyrics, and this one I could understand them better. And I was like, ooh,
that
I
makes
like
sense because it's a very like rhythmic, even tone. Like it's not sing speaking, but it's more sing speaking than some other Midnight songs.
Yeah. My other fun note that I have on here's going to be my moral use of the F word.
Waiting.
I wrote in all caps, yes, say fuck again, Taylor. And then, yes, because she said it a second time.
Slay. Fuck.
Immoral use of slay. Immoral use of slay. I'm calling it the cops.
Please don't do that.
All right.
I tried to brush my bangs back and I just knocked my headphones. My discussion question.
All right.
What's your favorite shade of red mentioned in this song? We've got maroon, scarlet, rust, blood, burgundy, ruby, and rose.
Okay, well, all right.
Obviously, you're gonna pick rose.
So I have an obligation to pick rose, but I do really love a good scarlet. Scarlet has always been like I think the sexiest color.
Fair enough.
I just can't. That's just what it is.
We love a little scarlet moment. I feel like I'm a maroon girly. I mean, I wear a lot of maroon.
Really?
Cat's
wearing maroon.
I'm currently wearing maroon. And I was just like, which maroon shirt do I wear for this? And I was like, I already wore that on the podcast. I already wore that.
I know, picking out outfits, and now I'm just like, oh man, I gotta pretend that I don't just wear the same 3 things over and over again.
Got 3 looks.
3 looks.
And that's it.
So, fun fact, Jenna Marbles from Rochester. Jenna Marbles, if you're listening. Jenna and Julian, we love your work.
Julian's on our list of guests that we want.
Yeah.
Jenna's also on there, but that's more of a fever dream wish.
We are respecting her wishes to be off the internet because honestly, do what you got to do.
You do you.
But Julian, I just want to say hi, if anything.
I want to say hi. I want to hear your thoughts on any Taylor Swift song.
Or just anything. I wanted Julian Sola meet him. He has to meet us now. All right?
We made a pun. It's like the same as doing like a summoning circle for like a
He would laugh.
Julian, it'd be a really funny bit if you came on the podcast.
He's a fellow Aries.
Oh, you're an Aries. I'm an Aries.
Exactly. So
we imagine the chaos. This is turned into a sales pitch. It's kind of like anytime that I talk about anything that I like, somebody's just like, "Oh, do you like blah blah blah?" And I'm just like, "Let me put on my full sales pitch." And then I'm like halfway through talking about how much I like something, and I'll just be like, "I sound like I'm getting fucking paid to say this." It's like anytime that I like anything, like yeah, you guys know because I do it on the fucking podcast.
The neurodivergent thing where you have hyperfixations, right? Because like I'm not just normal about the media that I consume. It becomes I think about it a lot.
Hence, we have an entire fucking podcast about Taylor Swift.
And so when I walk into like the outside world and then people bring it up, but they're like normal about it. And I have to sit there and be like,
I have only just started being normal about talking about my dog. There was like a 2-year stretch. Also, this week it was, if you follow our Instagram, you saw it, but it was the 3-year anniversary of me adopting Spear. We stan. But like there was like a solid 1.5 years where I would talk about my dog so much, and I would be in conversations talking about my dog, and I would be watching other people, and I'd be like, I'm talking about my dog too much. They don't fucking care anymore. And I would just be unable to talk about anything else because there was nothing else going on in my life because it was the pandemic. And I was like, yeah, my life revolves around my dog.
So what's your favorite color, red, that she mentions?
We'll make that the poll.
Yeah.
Within the discussion question will be your discussion question that I can't remember, but I know it was good.
Thank you. I put so much effort into it as she shakes her head violently.
Closed captioning yourself. This is a cautionary tale.
The Mean Girls was closed captioned when we saw it. I'm gonna fill in the blanks of what you're not saying because that's how we got there.
Based on actual events.
We have to end
where
this.
People died.
We have to end
one
this.
Died.
Cat.
What?
It's becoming nonsensical.
Yeah. What a real fucking legacy to leave, you know? Sorry, editing Abby. Love you. Kisses.
I'm going to have a hard time editing this later.
Well, you know what they say. That's showbiz, baby.
I hate that you said that.
I was going to say it's a hard knock life for us, but I was like, no. Not unhinged enough.
Get out of your own apartment.
Well, it's only my apartment for a couple more weeks.
Oh, yes.
Next week.
Great segue.
Great segue. Next week we'll be in a new apartment. We won't have any decorations up yet, most likely, but eventually we'll have a whole Taylor Swift nook in my apartment.
Yeah, we're really going to work on it.
And because we have a ton of Taylor posters and memorabilia and various items. But yeah, so next week my hint song is Ribs by Lorde.
Mine is Empire State of Mind by, that is Alicia Keys, is it not?
Alicia Keys and Jay-Z.
And Jay-Z.
Now I'm in that Brooklyn. Tribeca.
Concrete jungle, I dreamed of Mayo.
The song that made Carrie
Patey, you know, the icon.
Should I get my vocal cords taken away? Vote now in the comments. Hey, I stopped making die jokes for the most part. But
just a supercut of all the die jokes you've made over the course of tonight.
It's just a supercut of death.
A death by 1,000 supercuts. We have to end this. We have to get out. We gotta go.
I gotta go. Follow us on Instagram at SwiftLorePod.
And on TikTok at SwiftLorePod.
And check out our YouTube and Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Google.
We're pretty much everywhere if you look us up.
And if you look out your window, there we are.
That's scary.
Hello, it's me.
We're Santa, I guess.
She sees you in your sleep.
This is literally just the fact that it's after 9 p.m. I swear. This is why we have to record in the daytime.
This is why we can't have nice things.
That is why. And there you go. There you
And
have
there
it.
we go. It's a crispy high five time.
Crispy high five.
I think we
Or
should try to crispy
clink?
high five in front of. Oh yeah, let's clink instead.
Let's clink instead. That's
Let's
just
clink in
easier
front of
for
your
me. Oh, changing things up.
Changing
Okay.
things up.
Cheers. Heck
Clink,
yeah.
clink, bitches.
I can't even. You can't make that noise when there's. All right. Bye.
Look up the sky, and it was, and we talked about the edging.
Yes. Getting right back into it with the edging.
Right back into it. She's edging Maroon.
God.
The gay stopped coming, and it don't stop coming. I said it wrong.
You know what's wild is that I have that same joke in my notes.
You have an all-star joke in your notes?
For nothing. Yes, I do. I'm surprised you're surprised. This is where my Smash Mouth reference comes in. I said at first they're supportive, but then the tears stop coming and they don't stop coming.
I'm glad that you made the same mistake saying the line as I did, where you said stop twice instead of start and then stop. Which is the same exact mistake that I made at the beginning of the podcast.
You know, I actually wrote the tears keep coming, so I just ruined it even more. Smash Mouth, I'm sorry.
The tears start coming and they don't start. Fuck.
It's a really hard line, actually. That was third grade.
So Scarlet, it was fuck you, third grade teacher.